Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Tried and Tested podcast. I am your host Tracey, and if you're not familiar with my show, this is a dating and relationship talk show where we discuss all things from love, marriage, breakups, makeups, anything that has to do with relationships we're going to talk about on this show. So today we have an absolutely special guest, one of my besties of like many, many years. We're 32 and we've been friends since we were 11, right? Or not?
Something like that. Sixth grade, whenever that is.
Anyway, all right, so we have Abdul as our special guest today. So welcome, Abdul. Say hello to the people.
Hey, what's going on, people?
All right. So thank you so much, like I said, for being our guest today. All right, so we're going to jump right in. The topic for today is college dating life experiences. So obviously we all know college is a time where we kind of go from being children to being adults. And in that 4-year time span, for some people 5 years, we learn a lot about what dating really is, especially like you and I, Abdul, because we came from a boarding school, okay, for college. So it may be a little bit different than coming from public school. But so, yeah, so pretty much that's what we're going to talk about today. So, with you, what would you say were some of the things that you expected when you were going into college as far as dating is concerned?
I didn't really set much expectations in terms of going into college dating. Like, I was talking to somebody my freshman year, obviously. Doing a long distance relationship in college usually doesn't work out. So, first semester freshman year, that fizzled out. And that's pretty much the only expectation I have.
Okay. And that's true. I didn't even think about that, but a lot of people do actually go into college with their high school sweetheart or whoever they met over the summer. And that is one thing that I've noticed that happens. A lot of times, relationships don't work out freshman year. I have seen people get back together afterwards, but yeah, so that's one thing I would say that's an experience because you come in there planning your whole life with someone just for it to kind of not really go as planned. So yeah, that's definitely a good one. So other than that, you didn't have any type of expectation, like, as far as what you were going to do in college, like when it came to your relationships or not?
Nah, for me, it's just, I take it as it comes. Like, I don't say, all right, I want to be in a relationship throughout whole college, or I want to stay single the whole way through college. Like, whatever hand I'm dealt, I go with it accordingly. Like, I try not to set those expectations because then it becomes unrealistic. If you set, sometimes when you do set these expectations, you never know what you're going to get, so.
Okay, all right. And I definitely, I saw it, I feel like we had the same thought process going into college. I was just going into my adult life. You know, I went to school in North Carolina first, and then I transferred to New York. But what I would say is that I realized when I got down south to North Carolina that people had expectations. Like, they didn't physically say it, but I realized a lot of people's expectation was to get married. Like, they came to college with the intention of finding the love of their life, which was foreign to me. And then it's like, when I transferred to New York, it was a whole different lifestyle because people were just dating. Like, some people were in serious relationships, other people weren't. But the reality of it it's a different mindset. Like, I don't think people were in New York trying to get married like that soon. You know what I mean? So there was definitely a difference. So, okay, obviously, because I know you, I know that you were in a relationship through college, correct?
Correct. I was in a
Okay.
relationship for a majority of my collegiate career, actually.
Okay. So what was that like for you? Like, what was the thought process around that? Obviously, you didn't plan to be in a relationship. As you said, you didn't have any expectation. But for someone who also plays sports, play basketball, I call him everything that he knows. Anyway, what was that like for you?
I mean, it like I said before, it wasn't something that was planned. Like, you know, I met somebody second semester of my freshman year. We just really clicked. We just hit it off right away. And, you know, next thing I knew, I was in a relationship. And it's not like I intended on, you know, setting like restrictions on it, like being on a basketball team. It comes with a lot of responsibility. So I sort of set my I tempered myself so that I knew that I'd be able to handle both schoolwork, playing basketball, and not have to worry about being, this guy in a relationship. And with everything in college, there's obviously a lot of temptation around, but for me, I've always been somewhat of a steady guy, not so much interested in the, dating around, anything like that. So for me, once I found somebody that I really, really vibed with, really clicked with, I had no problem, settling down and just sticking with that person throughout most of my collegiate life.
Okay, so how did that work though? Because I mean, obviously we're talking about the different experiences when it comes to dating and being, in college. But if you're at a school and you're black and you're a basketball player, like how does that work? Because don't women, aren't they trying to like come for you? Aren't they trying to look for you? And also you guys can't see him, but he's really cute. So it's kind of like, how does that work? No, I'm serious. Like, how, because like, I know that the women are like, are they not like coming after you? Like, how does, explain this to us?
I think I didn't have that issue as much as because of my personality. Like, I'm a real, like, to myself kind of person. I wasn't out there going out hitting parties every night, anything like that. So, for the most part, like, I didn't put myself out there. There are women, obviously, that will try to, sort of still be the aggressor in the situation. But, I mean, like I said, for me, I've never been somebody who's been interested in dating around or, being the life of the party or anything like that. So I think just my personality itself didn't allow that to become a real big issue for me. So it was just being who I am. It sort of made it easier to deal with.
So even though like the women, because I do know some women are very aggressive and they like what they like and they know who's all on the team roster, and if you're not at a party, they'll find you somewhere else. So did that ever affect your relationship in any way, or you were just standing strong and that was it?
I mean, I think it played a role in, people always. I went to a relatively small school, so in small schools, everybody knows everything about everybody's business. So some people assume that they know things. They see you either like walking with somebody or going to lunch with somebody, and rumors start with you're dating this person or you slept with this person, this and that. Like those factors obviously played a role in a relationship, and sometimes they were issues you had to deal with, even though if nothing was going on. But I mean, for the most part, there was a lot of trust in our relationship because we had vibed so well, and it was never any type of issues or reasons that we led them to believe that we were being unfaithful or anything like that. So I think because we had such a trusting relationship, it was less of an issue, but obviously you still do have those rumors that sometimes you do have to defend yourself against.
Okay, yeah, that would definitely think that. All right, so obviously, like you said, you played ball, you were in a relationship. Do you regret going that route as far as, like, do you wish that you maybe didn't go? I mean, you are the kind of person who kind of, you're like the girlfriend type, but you don't always have a girlfriend, but you get what I'm saying? So with that, do you feel like during that time period, do you wish that you would have done things differently, or you felt like that was okay for you?
No, I wouldn't say I had any regrets because if I wasn't in that relationship, like even knowing the people that I know who went to the school, like there was nobody else. So I was like, damn, I wish I had a shot with her, or thinking back, like, oh, maybe if something went differently, me and her could have got, or anything like that. Like, I don't see that situation playing out in any other way. Like the relationship I was in, I was happy in. So it's not like if it was a relationship that was short lived or that I look back on with a keen eye, then maybe I'd say that. But like I said, relationship carried on even post college, so that's definitely not something that I think about.
Okay, so then definitely it worked out that way for you. And before we even go any further, so I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum because for me, like I said, I went to college. I didn't have any like plan in sight. I was just doe-eyed, dumb as I don't know what. Didn't really know much about relationships and dating, even though I like to talk about it. But I guess I would say I was a late bloomer. But for me, I definitely never had a relationship like boyfriend in college. I think when I transferred to New York is when I actually kind of took the route of not having like so many guy friends, but actually dating men. So I feel like my college dating experience was also like brand new to me because I think my junior year in college is when I really like started like talking to people, and I was very, even though I'm bold now, like I've always been bold, but when it came to like dating and relationships, like I said, I was just dumb, I was just shy, I was just confused, like I was like day and night from my regular personality to my dating personality. So like I said, for college dating life experiences, for me, it was a world of lessons to get me to the point where I am now with my own relationship podcast. So,
Were you putting yourself out there more though? Like, were you starting to go out more? Did you find yourself going out more once you started to open up and sort of find yourself?
but I always go out. Like, so that's the thing. Like, that's why I said it was like two different personalities because I'm somebody, and obviously from boarding school days, I've always been someone that's very social. I'm someone that always like has a lot of, well, not now, but like back then, like I had a lot of friends. I put air quotes around the word friends. So I was always very like social and things like that. I don't know what changed. Obviously, when I was in school in North Carolina, they do things differently down there. Now I did see people that I liked and I had a crush on, but I didn't. And also I had a crush on one of my friends. So maybe that was why like I probably wasn't living the life. Like I think I was, and you know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
I got you.
huh?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that could have been a reason why it may have taken me longer. I don't really know. But when I got to New York, it's just a whole different like lifestyle. Down south is kind of slow, kind of family oriented. Like I said, we were just like all homies down there, at least for me. But when I got to the city, it's like, okay, my dorm was right in smack dab in the middle of Manhattan. You are seeing people 24/7 and people are talking to you left, right, and center. And it's like I kind of just was forced to not be shy anymore. And so, like I said, it was a slow and steady process. But yeah, I definitely, got there, but it was just a lot. Like there were so many more options and so many more people that I came in contact with on a regular basis. And so I think I had no choice but to open up more. Plus I was a woman. Like I like men, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, the time is now. Like let's stop playing around. Let's stop waiting around. And yeah, so yes. All right. So, and I guess for you, I did ask you, I said, what would you have done differently? But you're saying that what you did was fine. It worked out. Your relationship carried on until after, graduation. So that's really, really good. So I would say, what do you think it taught you about yourself? Like, did you learn any valuable lessons while being in a relationship in college?
Oh, what was the first part of that? You said, what did I learn?
Like did it teach you anything about yourself? Because like I said, when I envision college, I envision like single people everywhere and whatnot. And obviously you had single friends, I'm sure. But do you feel like being in a relationship in college, did it teach you anything about yourself or just in general? Any valuable life lessons that you learned from that?
I feel like I've always had a good knowledge of who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the relationship necessarily taught me anything, but, because being in a college atmosphere is brand new to a lot of people. But like you said earlier, we went to boarding school where we had a lot of that similar independence and, being away from your family, things like that. So I feel like having that experience sort of made it an easy transition for college where in the relationship, I have a good grasp of who I am as a person. So I think it just sort of maybe tested certain aspects of myself, like patience and, having to work through different issues, more adult issues with more stressors, things like that that you don't necessarily go through in high school the same way you would in college. Finances obviously played a bigger role because now you're not only trying to pay off tuition or, just day-to-day living, you also have more expenses in terms of you go out more, you have friends who are doing things, and it's just more stresses that more so test who you currently are as opposed to learning more about yourself. So.
Okay. So can you also explain this because I know for myself, the people I dated were not in my college, but because the person that you dated was in college, like how does that work? Like do you guys go on real dates? If you both are in school together, like what is the expectation as far as like spending money and things like that?
I mean, yeah, we'd go on dates being in the same school. I mean, it made it easier to hang out. Like, I don't think having like a formal date was as necessary because you did see each other every day and you could just, just go hang out in one person's room. So you're still getting that quality time without the necessary need to go out and spend money on a formal date. But I mean, there's obviously times, like I said, I went to school in Jersey, so New York was just a train ride away. So we would go there, go to New York and do things in the city, which, is fun in itself, but we also just hung out around on campus and did school events and things like that. So I don't think the formal dating was as much of a factor just because we did go to the same school. But in those situations where maybe you are dating somebody that's in a different school, I think that may be more of a necessity.
Yeah, that's because I'm looking at like my experiences, like I said, because even though I had friends and stuff on campus, like when I did transfer to New York, the people that I was dating were not on campus, like they weren't even in college, like they were older than me. So if I was like, let's say 21, they could have been anywhere from 23 and up. So it was like a regular like dating experience. It wasn't like the college dating experience, for me. So okay. So what advice would you give to young college kids, like people who are doe-eyed, they're fresh, they're going into college, and, there's so many different ideas of what you should expect in college. Obviously, you've experienced being in a relationship going into college. You've also experienced being with someone long-term. So is there any advice or any thoughts that you would give to any college dating students?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, like, just go with the flow, and enjoy your youth. Don't try to force anything. Like, if there's somebody you like and you wanna sort of progress, then don't let you being in college be a hindrance for it. Because plenty of people find their soulmate, find their partner in college. And at the same time, if you do find somebody and it's not exactly the relationship you want, you still are young. There's plenty of time to find what you're looking for. Just enjoy your youth and just take your time. Don't force anything.
Okay. Take it easy, yep. And I also will say, I guess any advice that I would give these young children out in these streets is to focus on your books. Men will be there when you graduate, okay? Like, women will be there when you graduate. But definitely, I would say don't necessarily jump into something so serious. Like, I would definitely take my time. You don't have to find your husband the first day of freshman year. And oftentimes, this may not always be the case, but the person that you meet first is normally going to be, like if you're a woman, it may be someone either in your class or someone that's older that may be trying to take advantage of you. So definitely apply wisdom, assess the situation. I know people would like attention from, older people, but sometimes it's kind of like it can put you in a situation where you get caught up. So take your time in college, go there with other intentions like getting an education and getting good grades. Okay? All right. So, Abdul, thank you so much for taking the time today to kind of give us a little insight on your college dating experience. Yeah. So
thanks for finally letting me get on. I know I had to try to hustle you to get on, but I appreciate you finally allowing me this opportunity.
I'm going to fight you because I've been texting you. I think this is like episode 40, and I've been trying to get him to come on the show. So like I said, I'm really, really appreciative that you took the time out. Okay, so if any of the listeners want to follow you on social media, what is your social media handle so that they can find you?
If you want to find me on social media, then you can reach out to Tracey and she will.
Oh, okay. Hey. So I guess I'm getting paid. So if y'all want to find Abdul on social media, reach out to me, and then I'll direct you to his page for a small fee. Okay. All right. So I just want to once again, I want to thank my guest so much for being on today, and I also want to thank my listeners for tuning in to this episode. I hope you learned something new today. So until next time, you guys, adios and have a great one.